Hello, everybody. So, I am not a build maker. I just make builds for myself, and I don't really make guides for other people. But since there's so many questions on this build, I will just make a quick video discussing some aspects about it. So I think most people are gonna be interested in the non-mage blood version of this. So okay, I'm not gonna put this on because then I have no stats. But okay, so what is this build? It is a cold Exsanguinate Miner. So Exsanguinate is a physical spell, and with most spells, it scales with gem levels. So we are trying to scale gem levels up as much as we can. We convert all physical damage to cold using Crim Sorrow, and then we then boost our cold damage with auras and things like that. So the things that you want to focus on in this build on how you get damage is physical damage, cold damage, gem levels. We are also a crit build because mines get crit chance and crit multi very easily. So we are also looking for crit multi and some crit chance if you're not going to be crit cat. And of course, just generic spell damage. Okay, so in terms of the skill tree, there's not much to discuss. It's just mostly quite a lot of damage nodes, reservation nodes. For my non-mage blood version, I will not be taking this cluster because I will not be using, uh, it's just slightly different. All right, this mage blood version is more tailored for myself, like with my exact reservation that I need, because replica Dragonfang's flight has 14% reservation. So, the number of tattoos I use for reservation efficiency as well is also very specific, so that I have enough mana for Arcanist Brand and Bear Trap. So you can't really copy paste exactly unless you have the exact items that I have. So, yep, this is just a framework for how you can tweak your own build for it. Okay, so the only thing is this cluster jewel. So we'll be using a 3 passive cluster jewel with Battle Harden, Force Multiplier, and Iron Breaker. So this is quite standard for any physical build, or actually even for any fist, mostly for fist to elemental builds. We got some double damage here, which I'll talk about later on. We also have some cluster jewels with, cluster jewels with Expert Sabotage and Guerrilla Tactics. The small jewels, I mostly go for resistances before Mage Blood because we are not capped res and crit multi while dual wielding and certain stats. Okay, so some things to take note of is Magnate is a very, very big damage multiplier. Right, so it says 10% chance to deal double damage while you have at least 200 strength, and 5% chance to deal triple damage while you have at least 400 strength, which is why it's quite important to get 400 strength. Just without Mage Blood, now I have replaced some stats, but you get the idea. You just need to hit 400 stats, and because we are an Inquisitor, we actually get 400% crit strike chance just from that as well. I mean, provided that your int is also around 400, so that is pretty nice. Magnet is really, really nice. Okay, so once again, let's just go through all the gear one by one. We have Scepters with +1 all spell. You could do +1 physical as well, but I prefer all spell skill gems because it just increases the level of all your auras as well, and your marks, things like that. So +1 is nice. So in terms of priority, I would say +1 followed by crit multi, followed by either added cold damage to spells, spell damage, crit strike chance of spells. Yeah, it's just mostly this. Cast speed does not affect anything, so that's a dead mod. So yes, just get what you can afford. I did not craft any of these. I bought this quite early on for like only 40-50 chaos, and like I have been using them ever since then, and I haven't really upgraded my weapons at all. Okay, next let's talk about the chest. So the chest we're using is Dialas. Ideally, you want this to not be blue. It's just that mine is corrupted, so it's a bit painful to reforge the colors, and I don't really need to get that extra like quality or gem levels on it. Okay, we want to have empower on a red socket so that you get more level to supported skill gems. You see now it's +3, and then once you put it in, it becomes +5. So that increases our exsanguinate level even higher. You want your high impact mine and minefield support to be on green sockets because you want the increased mine throwing speed. So even with minefield, it still feels pretty smooth. Like you are not locked in the animation of throwing mines. Yeah. And then for trap and mine damage, it's just on red sockets for more damage, more gem levels. So yep, this is my current setup. Feel free to tweak it whenever you want. You can technically have all red and have even more damage, but I like the mine throwing speed. Okay, helmet we have Heat Shiver, Once again, on my non-Mage Blood version, I do not have this because Mage Blood version I fit in another aura, which is Herald of Ash. So I had to get reservation all around in order to fit it in for more damage, from losing damage from Magnet, to still continue one-shotting everyone. So yes, when using Magnet, you will use a normal ring with resistances because you will not be capped res. Now I'm using Mage Blood with additional resistances during Flask effect, which is how I am capping my res. Yes, you see, I'm very, very near. Okay, so we've talked about weapons, we've talked about chests. Heat Shiver, any cold build with more who wants more damage, you just go Heat Shiver. Is just free damage. You gain extra cold damage as fire. You're not gonna get 100% as extra fire uh, against Lycia, but against everything else, you probably will be freezing them, so you will be killing them in one burst. Because usually the first mine hit will freeze the enemy and then you will get 100% cold damage as extra fire for all subsequent hits. So that's just nice and, a lot of free fire damage. Okay, lastly okay, maybe last two, my Amulet. If you are able to get this replica Dragonflang's flight with +3 Exsanguinate gems, it is really nice. Okay, I actually compared. I mean, it feels like it's doing way more damage than Eternal Struggle, but as a budget option, Eternal Struggle is pretty good. The things that you want to take note of is you want the Searing Exarch to be dominant, right? As you can see here, Searing Exarch is exceptional and Ether Volts is greater. So you need Exarch to be dominant in order to get a 15% cull. So, yeah, because that amulet is definitely a lot more expensive compared to Eternal Struggle. So the budget version is way cheaper because all these are not too expensive. The boots, I made this myself because I needed to hit the strength requirement, right? For 400 strength. If you can get these kind of boots, that'll be nice. The main thing you want to look out for is the movement speed, and the movement speed if you haven't been hit recently. So I spent a fair bit of money trying to craft these myself because there weren't any on the market. But yep, once again, I said everything is tuned for Sanctum running, so more movement speed, more cooldown recovery of travel skills, which is your flame dash, so it comes up more often. Um, yep. In terms of rings, I'm just using a Circle of Guilt with Herald of Purity, has buff effect, and physical damage are affected by Herald of Purity. It's just a damage ring, right? I think damage rings are a bit hard to come by, so if we're using Herald of Purity, this is just a nice boost in damage. I think with that, I don't think I really need to explain the gems. I guess I could. Oh, there is something to take note of. If you see my POB, they probably will say something to do with reservation being wrong and things like that. It's because I am running determination usually. I mean, before this, I was running determination when I am running the first floors, like the first few areas. And then when I get to Lycia, if let's say she has extra health, I do less damage, things like that, and I feel like I need the extra burst, I will swap determination off for Zealotry to ensure that I have, 16% more spell damage, probably more than that, and some crit chance. Apart from that, we also have precision. I am not using precision because I am already capped crit in PoB. So if you are not capped crit, then you will probably run precision in the budget version because you won't have a diamond flask with increased effect. All right, with that, I think that's most of it covered. Yes, upgrades would be getting Divergent Righteous Fire, so it gives you additional spell damage. Arcanist brand with Assassin's Mark. If you can fit in Divergent Purifying Flame, that would be nice. In my budget version POB, I think I did not put this in, but definitely throw this in if you can because it applies 5% increased damage taken to enemies. All these small additive damage taken, it does lead to quite a lot of damage eventually. So this is just some things to take note of. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. If you have any more questions, you can just leave it in the comments, or you can just drop by the stream and just ask me straight up. Flask wise, because Mage Blood things, I'm not using Xeri's Promise. This thing is massive. It's like 8% elemental damage as extra chaos, you use it. 8% fist as extra chaos, you also use it. So it's just free damage. Taste of Hate as well, 15% as extra cold. So this is the budget setup that you will replace certain things. You'll probably replace Sulfur Flask and Onslaught Flask for these two, depending if you want more damage or you want more speed, because Sanctum is about damage, but also being as fast as you possibly can in order to get more rewards. Okay, I think that's all I have to cover. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.